Hi, this is William from Great Affordable Watches, and in this video I'm gonna review the Yema Superman Heritage. Yema is a French watch company founded in 1948 by Henry Louis Belmont. And Yema have been owned by a few different companies throughout the years, and actually Seiko have been one of them, who bought the company in 1988, but later sold it to another French watch company in 2004. Yema switched owners again in 2009 and have been owned by that company ever since. The first Yema Superman was released in 1963, and that watch was used by pilots in the French Air Force. And also some of Yema's watches have also been to space. So Yema have quite a rich history. This watch is actually not based on the Superman released in 1963, but actually based on the reference 530016 released in the 70s. Yema have actually 3D scanned the original watch and based this watch on the 3D scan. So it's very similar to the original Superman released in the 70s, but with a few changes, including a modern movement, the ETA2824 or the Celera SW200, depending on when you purchase this watch. Also a trademark R after the Superman in the logo, and also a aluminium bezel insert instead of a bakelite. There is also a few very minor changes that has also been made. So let's start off with the specifications first. The diameter is 39 millimeters. The thickness is 13 millimeters. The lug width is 19 millimeters, but you can actually fit a 20 millimeter strap really easily on this watch. It got a unidirectional bezel with an aluminium insert, a screw down crown, a sapphire crystal which is domed. It is water resistant down to 300 meters or 30 bar. And it got the Celera SW200 movement or the ETA 2824 depending on when you got this watch. This watch retails with the bracelet and sapphire crystal for $1,099 US. So let's move on to the design of this watch, and we can start with the dial. And we got a very deep black dial with painted indices, and the color on the lume or the indices are a bit yellow, and I think this gives this watch a very vintage feeling, but I don't think that the fake patina, if you will, is overly done, and I think they have actually nailed the balance between a vintage look while not being overly done. So yeah, excellent job on this one. And we got the logo at 12 o'clock. I think it's a really clean and simple logo. I really like the Y, and we also got 2 lines of text above 6 o'clock. So a very clean and very simple dial, and of course based on the original watch, which looks like this, except for the R here on the dial. But yeah, they have definitely done a great job with the dial. One other thing I really like is the hands. I think especially the second hand with the hint of red looks great, and I think a hint of red on a vintage inspired diver is something that looks really nice in my opinion. And we also got an unidirectional bezel with an aluminium bezel insert, which looks really nice. Of course it's not bakelite, but I think the aluminium bezel insert is the way to go on a watch like this. And also the bezel locking mechanism, which is something Yema is famous for. And this mechanism basically holds the bezel insert in place when you have screwed the crown in. And of course we got a signed screw down crown. And the best selection is actually really solid. It's very tactile, and yeah, it feels great overall, but that is of course to be expected on a watch of this price. And if you have seen my GMT review, I mentioned that the crown is a bit wobbly, but this is actually not the case on this watch. The crown is very sturdy and it feels great to use, so that's great to see. One thing to notice is that the signed crown is a bit different to the GMT version. The GMT have, in my opinion, a more high quality engraving or embossing, if you will, and yeah, that's something I think the GMT does better, but it's still a signed crown which looks great. One other thing I like is that the case thickness is pretty slim, so it will sit really nicely on the wrist, as we're gonna see later on when I do a wrist shot. But yeah, a really nice case profile, and yeah, it sits great on the wrist, as we're gonna see. One other highlight of this watch is actually the case back. The case back is actually very similar to the GMT. We got the Yema logo, and I think that this logo, this case back, is actually superb. I think it looks great. Great to see a solid case back, and the same can be said of the case back on this watch as with the GMT. A really nice solid case back is something I really appreciate. I think it looks great, especially when we got an ETA or Sellita SW200 movement. They look pretty standard, so something like this with a great looking solid case back is the way to go, in my opinion. This watch comes with a bracelet or a strap, and the bracelet is also something I really like with this watch. It's a mix between a bit of rice and a jubilee, and I must say I really like the polished case together with the brush surfaces and the polished middle links. I think that is a really nice detail, and I think the brushed surfaces on the bracelet really contrast the all polished case. Both the lugs and the sides and the case back is of course polished, and I think this is definitely something that adds to the vintage feeling. Personally, I really like brushed lugs, but I think they've done a great job, and the polished lugs together with the polished sides on this watch looks quite nice. And I must say that the polishing done on the case is definitely great, and the finish overall on this watch is outstanding in my opinion. Back to the bracelet. This is a really comfortable bracelet. We can do a wrist shot and talk more about it. This bracelet definitely feels very 70s, and I must say I really like it. It's very comfortable. It's quite unique, and it just suits the style of this watch perfectly in my opinion, so great job with the design of the bracelet. If it's something I don't like as much as the bracelet itself, it's the clasp. It's a milled clasp. It's not a bad clasp in any way, but it's nothing special. It's a very basic clasp, but it gets the job done. It sits securely, and that's, I guess, the most important thing. But the bracelet itself is something I really like. And the watch overall sits really nice on my wrist. I have a 7-inch wrist for a reference, and as I said before, it sits quite slim, and I just like how it sits on the wrist overall. I just like the look of this watch, and at 39mm most people can wear it, even if you have a smaller or a bigger wrist. So a great size in my book, and of course faithful to the original watch. So overall, I really like this watch. I think for the money, this is definitely a unique diver with a lot of history, and most importantly, it looks great and it feels really good on the wrist. And yeah, I'm a big fan of this design, and I think the Superman Heritage is a faithful recreation of the original watch, and that is always great to see. They've nailed the balance between looking vintage while not being overly done. So yeah, great job. The only minor issues I have with this watch is the clasp, and now when I've seen the GMT, the logo on the crown, I would like to see the exact same logo as on the GMT. I think that one looks a bit better. So let me know what you think of this watch down in the comment section. Do you like this watch? And also, which one do you prefer, the GMT or the Heritage? I'm a bit torn. I like both watches, but yeah, it's a hard choice, and GMT looks a bit more modern while the Heritage looks, of course, a bit more vintage inspired. So if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more watch related content. And thank you for watching, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye.